and have the states come.
A disturbing incident in India caught on camera. Migrants sprayed with disinfectant after leaving cities on foot without food or water after their nationwide lockdown. Here in New York, an altogether different kind of fight for survival. This video, provided by Mount Sinai, Queens, shows just what they're up against.
All these patients here sitting out in the hallways because we are full.
Medical staff coping with a surge in patients, doctors separating themselves from their families during the battle. Many of the residents here in America's largest city hunkering down. Empty streets as officials warn the peak may not hit until the end of the month.
Other people talk about getting back to work, starting the economy. This model says it could go on through July.
Across the country, more than 900 dead in the last 24 hours, and more than 200,000 cases in the United States. And Florida now reversing course. The governor there finally telling all of its residents to stay home.
And that's just the reality that we find ourselves in.
What officials are saying about how much longer this will last, and how parents and children are adapting to this unprecedented change in the way we live.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lindsay Davis. Thank you so much for streaming with us. There are so many tentacles and aspects of this virus, and each night we're trying to look at this from various angles to inform, illuminate, and inspire. And tonight we want to get into the strain, particularly on parents, now faced with the task of working from home or trying to find a new job, all the while trying to balance homeschooling and educating their children. And of course, we're going to get into the news of the day, more sobering headlines with more than 900 dead to COVID-19 across this country just in the last 24 hours. But first, a word about New York City. New Yorkers, of course, have the reputation of being proud, of being tough and resilient. And New York will get through this, as the entire country will. But at this moment, the Big Apple is battling what so many cities and towns will likely fight in the days and weeks ahead. So for those of you who are not experiencing it yet, we want to give you a glimpse of the change and paralysis in this typically vibrant city in just a matter of weeks. Our David Wright leads us off.
New York is still the city that never sleeps, but sleepless nights now mean something totally different here. The only sound of New York hustle and bustle is the wail of the ambulances. Everyone knows what that means. Another New Yorker fighting to stay alive, and first responders rallying to their side. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere.
I've had a lot of my providers end their shifts in tears. It's more than any of us signed up for.
No longer is it up to us, if it ever was. The virus has stripped that illusion away. We New Yorkers are having to accept the fact that something larger than ourselves is calling the shots.
Thank you for your hard work during this pandemic. Thank you that you're here right now working. Thank you that you're going to be here tomorrow as well. We thank you. We salute you guys.
It's up to us to act responsibly. New Yorkers are doing that for the most part. As of tonight, 17% of the NYPD is out sick. More than 1,200 police officers so far have tested positive for coronavirus. But crime in the city is down overall. In parks and in public, most of us are keeping our distance. Grand Central Station at rush hour is quiet as a crypt. In Times Square, the billboards are lit up, but no tourists to see them. New York is an island. The bridges and tunnels are open, but traffic is a breeze. There may be no better illustration of the impact this has on the economy of this city and the nation than at the heart of American capitalism, the New York Stock Exchange. As of last week, no traders on the floor. It's all electronic.
We're behind your bed. Now.
So is most of America at the moment, cocooned in our homes, connected to each other by Ethernet and Wi-Fi. At least we have that. We need it to teach our kids.
Take some gentle movement back to the body. To feel your eyes and the backs of your eyelids before you blink your eyes open.
To organize play dates and social gatherings. and to order our groceries and other necessities. These are the foot soldiers in the war on the virus, the internet's infantry. Gloves and masks now an essential part of the uniform for every doorman. In Queens, where many of these foot soldiers live, the epidemic is at its worst. Elmhurst Hospital there, now bursting at the seams with coronavirus patients. This is a mostly working-class community crowded with immigrants, not far from where the President of the United States was born.
I've been watching that for the last week on television. Body bags all over in hallways. I've been watching them bring in trailer trucks, freezer trucks. They're freezer trucks because they can't handle the bodies. There's so many of them. This is essentially in my community in Queens, New York. I've seen things that I've never seen before.
Many of the people in Elmhurst work hourly jobs without health benefits. Many families save on rent by having multiple generations share one apartment.
Anxiety, depression, not much to do at home, just clean, sanitize everything, cook, stay home, a little bit of argument here and there with family members, but you know, I'm having faith in God and praying every single day.
Keeping everything clean can be a challenge when there's no place to wash your clothes.
Like, we haven't done the laundry for like a week because all the stores are closed. And like, we finally found one that was actually open. And there was like a lot of people here, so we had to wait for like a good hour or 2 hours just to do laundry.
New York already knows that the hospitals will soon be at their limit. So the next Grand Slam at the Billie Jean King National Tennis Center in Queens won't be the U.S. Open. It'll be hundreds of coronavirus patients. In Central Park, the normal rites of spring have given way to a field hospital. And at the Javits Center downtown, where they often host Comic-Con, a hospital reminiscent of Ellis Island and the era of Spanish flu.
This is going to be one of those moments they're going to write about and they're going to talk about for generations. This is a moment that is going to change this nation. 10 years from now, you'll be talking about today to your children or your grandchildren, and you will shed a tear because you will remember the lives lost. And you'll remember the faces, and you'll remember the names.
New Yorkers have faced tough times before, even in living memory, and we've overcome them. But even by New York standards, this is big and bad. Yet, to quote Dorothy Parker, New Yorkers know if you can get through the twilight, you'll live through the night.
Our thanks to David Wright. And tonight, the president repeated his stark warning, saying that the next few weeks will be, quote, horrific. More than 200,000 in this country now have coronavirus. And now Florida and Georgia have joined the growing list of states announcing stay-at-home measures. What's happening here in New York and across the country is just unimaginable. This video of bodies being loaded onto a truck in Brooklyn from this week, it highlights the grim reality. More than 4,500 dead, and those numbers only expected to rise. Our Whit Johnson has this report.
Tonight, a doctor taking us inside New York's Mount Sinai Queens Hospital, now pushed to the brink.
This is our ED. You can see all the rooms are filled. Usually these halls are very neat and empty. And now you can see there's patients everywhere because of this. It makes it very hard to work, and we're trying our best to treat everyone that we can.
Many of the patients immediately put on oxygen.
All these patients here sitting out in the hallways because we are full.
Healthcare workers on the front lines making painful sacrifices.
I said goodbye to my wife and my daughter for who knows how long. It's going to be several weeks probably before I see them in person again.
It's frustrating that, you want people to get better. Everyone in the hospital is working overtime and putting their hearts out into it, trying to save these people's lives, and it takes a toll because you're both physically and mentally exhausted.
And tonight, news on Dr. Colleen Smith, who shared these images from one of the first hard-hit ERs in Queens.
All the patients in this room, all the feet that you see, They all have COVID.
Now confirming she's tested positive herself for COVID-19. Hospitals so overwhelmed, iconic public spaces now used to treat patients. This is really an extraordinary moment here. You can see that ambulance pulling up behind me. We're told that this is the very first patient with COVID-19 to be transported and then treated here at this field hospital in the middle of Central Park. This facility has 68 beds. Medical teams and volunteers from Samaritan's Purse stepping up to meet the need.
Some will be transferring who are already ventilated, and so we will then transfer to our ventilators to take care of them. The death toll in New York State close to 2,000, surging by nearly 400 overnight. One projection showing 16,000 New Yorkers could die. And tonight, word of the youngest known victim, a 6-week-old baby, passing away from complications of the virus in nearby Connecticut.
What we're looking at now is the apex, top of the curve, roughly at the end of April, which means another month of this.
The governor shutting down playgrounds, calling on the NYPD to enforce the rules.
How reckless and irresponsible and selfish for people not to do it on their own. I mean, what else do you have to know? What else do you have to hear?
The White House coronavirus task force with that grim projection that even if Americans follow the restrictions, 100 to 240,000 people could die in the U.S. At least 45 states now with stay-at-home orders, but tonight growing pressure on the rest. In Florida, the governor reversing course, now issuing a statewide stay-at-home order for its 21 million residents. The governor abandoning his county-by-county approach after consulting with the White House.
I'm going to be doing an executive order today directing all Floridians to limit movements and personal interactions outside the home.
In Louisiana, a jump in cases. Nearly a third of hospitalized patients are on ventilators.
Those numbers are staggering, and looks like there's no end in sight. And if these numbers continue, we will be maxed out at hospitals and ventilators by the end of the weekend.
Just last night, congregants flocking to this church, defying bans on social gatherings. But Vice President Pence today telling our Byron Pitts he had a message for the faithful.
We really believe this is a time when people should avoid gatherings of more than 10 people. And so we continue to urge churches around America to heed to that.
Across the country, field hospitals going up from Massachusetts to Illinois, where cases now top 5,000. And in Seattle, this exhibition hall, soon to be a 250-bed hospital, complete with 2 operating rooms. But tonight, the mounting loss of life is taking its toll. 34-year-old Scott Blanks from Whittier, California, was initially sent home from the hospital, only to return days later with pneumonia, a ventilator unable to save him.
He never had any complications or never was hospitalized, nothing. It's kind of unreal right now because we weren't even allowed to go see him.
And we're joined now by Whit Johnson. And Whit, adding to the tough news in your report, ABC News has now learned about new orders for EMS first responders in New York City and Long Island.
Lindsay, these orders obtained by ABC News outline specific changes on how to respond to cardiac emergencies, telling EMS crews in the field that if they cannot get a pulse on their own, then they should not take that patient to the hospital. The orders also reflect concerns about CPR itself possibly spreading coronavirus. It's just a sign of how stretched thin these emergency rooms are. Lindsay?
All right, Whit Johnson, thanks so much for that report. And next to the grim reality many on the front lines are facing tonight. Who gets a ventilator when there simply are not enough? Doctors and nurses are now worried that incredibly difficult life or death decisions may rest on their shoulders. Chief National Correspondent Matt Gutman has more on the impossible choices healthcare workers could soon face.
Tonight, with fatalities spiking over 25% in just a single day nationwide, health workers on the front lines making grim life and death decisions.
The basic antibiotic are really hard to get. Even medications to sedate patients are becoming more short as we're using them more and more often.
So you're saying it's not just PPE that's short anymore, it's like the basic tools of the trade of medicine.
Yeah.
In New York State, they project needing 25,000 more ventilators. Akshay Ganju is an ER doctor in Westchester.
I'm nervous about one day having to look a daughter in the eye and not being able to say that I did everything that I could, that we don't have a ventilator for her mom, that we're going to leave her on oxygen and hope for the best.
Valerie Roberts from Sacramento is a grandmother and cancer survivor.
Nobody's allowed in my house.
Healthcare providers are warning people to stay away from emergency rooms unless they're very sick. They're also warning the vulnerable, like Roberts. She says an oncology supervisor called her to say she should try to avoid the ER for her own safety in the event of a surge. She told her San Francisco station KGO that the doctor also said this.
I wouldn't be probably a candidate for a ventilator if it was between me and a healthy person, no. The conversation was tough in and of, if you get this virus and get complications with it, we need to discuss comfort care for you.
Comfort care as in morphine?
Yes.
Her hospital released a statement about the conversation saying clinicians regularly communicate with medically vulnerable patients to fulfill their current health care needs. We will do everything we can to fulfill those wishes, both now and in the event of a hospital surge. Mandy Hall was on duty when a desperately ill COVID patient came in.
He required immediate intervention for life-saving measures.
The virus had recently killed the man's wife, but they delayed intubating him because he had a very special wish to see his daughter one more time. Did he tell you that he understood that once he was intubated, he might not come out of it?
He did. That is the reason why he requested to speak with his daughter before he was intubated.
And Matt joins us now live from Los Angeles. Matt, you're talking to nurses across the country, and these are some incredibly challenging decisions that they have to make.
And so much of it, Lindsay, is based on the PPE, right? Do you don and doff PPE when you go to see a patient who is on a ventilator or in the ICU? Every time you do that, you waste PPE. So you have to make sure that the reason to go in to see this patient is important enough to waste, a whole set of PPE. There are decisions like that made all the time. There's something else that nurses are telling me and doctors across the country. Their concerns about PPE, they're trying to tell a lot of people about it, but the hospital administrations are trying to shut them up. They don't want people to be afraid to go to the hospital, so they're simply telling these nurses and doctors to stop talking to us. Lindsay.
Matt Gutman, thanks for that report. And when we come back, the major drug being pulled off the market right now, what you should do if you have it at home. Plus, more coronavirus cases aboard that quarantine Navy ship. And now tonight, questions over where thousands of soldiers should quarantine. Also, the newest chapter in the Tiger King story, why Exotic Joe wants millions of dollars while in prison. And parenting during the pandemic. It's hard for everyone. But next, the unique set of challenges parents of special needs children are facing.
So students have access to Google Classroom. Our school uses Google Classroom, so students are pretty familiar with using this. This is where I post assignments. This is where I make comments. This is where I post any sort of information that the students may need. So for example, this is one of the assignments the students have to complete. It's an ongoing fitness journal. Students have to complete 60 minutes of activity, and they have to document it, and then they have to do certain challenges. In addition, they have to write in their journals. Now, what if they don't understand how to do it or they have questions? Well, there is a platform called Google Comments, so students and I can go interact one-to-one. I've also created Zoom hours where students can come in without video if they don't feel comfortable and have any sort of questions or any sort of clarifications on the assignment answered. Another thing that I've been doing is using Kahoots. Kahoots are really fun, they're interactive, they're engaging. I've created a YouTube channel so that I'm providing demonstrations, tips on how to stay safe, how to stay active in a small environment. So this is one platform. I've also created an educational Instagram account. And after hearing from student feedback, they seem to really enjoy the videos. They are very helpful.
Welcome back. Being a parent is, of course, never a cakewalk, but parenting during a pandemic, that's an entirely new set of challenges. So many of us are having to entertain and educate our children while still trying to do our jobs at the same time. It's all one big balancing act. But the burden is especially unique for parents of children with special needs. And as Devin Dwyer reports, theirs is an inspiring story of resilience on the front lines right at home.
From outside the front door, a glimpse of life around the kitchen table in a pandemic.
Danny is medically fragile, so the virus itself would be pretty devastating to him.
Parents Megan Scully and Chris DeBott of Washington, D.C. are now full-time caregivers for their 4-year-old son, Danny, who has a rare brain disorder, putting him at increased risk of COVID-19.
One of the fights for us is keeping the front line for us here at home instead of possibly having to go to the hospital.
As we talk outside, Danny's 2-year-old brother Elliot keeps that distance. His older brother Sam tells us he's worried.
Are you afraid of the disease?
A little, because what if Danny catches it? Or what if I catch it? If I catch it, I would probably have to stay in my room all day, maybe for 2 weeks. And I wouldn't get to see him at all for that long. And also, if I came out of my room and went into his room and I snuggled with him, he could catch COVID-19 and he could be diagnosed and could die.
It's a sobering reality affecting so many families. Rob Gorski of Ohio tells us he's overwhelmed.
I'm a dad to 3 autistic kids, and my oldest is medically fragile, so one of the things that he has right now is compromised immune system.
20-year-old son Gavin Gorski in the middle shows us his pump for gene infusions to boost his immunity.
It's pretty stressful worrying about trying to keep him healthy and safe by not exposing him to anything, really.
The Gorskis haven't left their Ohio home in 3 weeks, testing their patience with each other and communication skills. Father Rob invited us to join a family conversation.
We're sticking together. We're doing what we have to do to protect your brother. Is there any message that you guys just want to tell people about?
Always try and find ways to stay relaxed and stay calm.
Sleep. Most important one of all, sleep.
Stick with your parents. We stick with our dad, and he's the best dad we could ever have. And if you see him right now, he's blushing.
It's the love and laughter that many parents say is keeping them going.
Boo!
Girlfriend.
10-year-old Mariah Winchell, who has autism and Down syndrome, gave us a tour of her quarantine life at home near Boston.
Do you want to, let's go show your schedule.
Her parents posting a daily schedule to keep learning on track.
Word of the day yesterday was bacteria.
Mom Melissa behind the camera showing us the science experiments growing yeast by the board games. The living room now home to Mariah's cardboard rocket ship and sentence diagrams.
How concerned are you that her development, her socialization is going to be set back in a big way?
I'm really concerned.
That new normal coming without many of the usual supports, those home health aides, therapists, coaches, teachers, and most of all, routines. Danny DeBott was just beginning to learn how to communicate when the pandemic closed his school.
We are homeschooling a 2nd grader, and we are trying to get Danny's therapies in to the best that we can, but we just cannot replicate what they can do at school.
And you're holding down 2 full-time jobs
That's
at
right.
the same time.
Yes, yes.
Caroline, how are you dealing with this being at home?
I'm good.
You're good. Do you miss your friends?
Yeah.
Yeah. He definitely misses his friends.
Single mother Opal Foster of Southern Maryland worries about the impact of isolation on her son Jeremiah, who has Down syndrome.
There's a lot of things that they're used to in their regular routine that they're not going to be getting. We're working on kind of getting a Zoom or Skype meeting together so that you guys can see each other.
And after losing her job at a printing company last month, Foster now wonders whether they'll stay financially afloat.
We just don't know how long this is going to last. I mean, I would love to say that everything will go back to normal tomorrow and we just snap our fingers and everything will be back just the way that that it was. But It won't.
So we're ending the 3-hour shift here. I'm switching off. Mariah and I wrote a story today.
Melissa Winchell, like so many parents now, toggling between daycare and her day job, a full-time university professor still lecturing, grading papers, and advising hundreds of students, among them Mariah, who's still struggling to understand the loss of normalcy.
The grief almost feels fresh to them every day, almost like they're re-experiencing it all over for the first time. So we're having a lot of, just daily crying.
How have you explained to her what a pandemic is?
I taught her the word coronavirus. She knows the word COVID-19. It's to the point now that she calls it stupid coronavirus. So, when she says, oh, why can't I see therapist so-and-so today? I say, oh, you know why? And she says, oh, stupid coronavirus.
The stress, many parents tell us, can seem unending.
The lack of adult contact is pretty challenging. I love my kids, and if I had to be on lockdown with anybody, and it's my kids, so I'm glad I have them. But it does sort of take its toll.
When do you get a break?
I don't even know what that word means. I guess I don't think so much about how to get through it. I just know that, like, my kids are relying on me, and I have to do whatever I have to do.
I am on the couch for the second time since noontime today because I am just so tired.
Often exhausted, but still resilient.
I guess we're trying to make sense of this, trying to keep a positive attitude. Jeremiah is always a beacon of sunshine, as it is anyway.
It may not be pretty, and it may not be joyous, and it may not be how you want to get through something, but you'll get through it, and there is something on the other side.
Reminding all of us there's light at the end of the tunnel and in those we love.
I think this sense that nothing is permanent, that life's not a given, and that life's so fragile. That's, I think, what disabled families know. And I think that's the wisdom that we're bringing into the experience of quarantine and into COVID.
Life is so fragile indeed. Our thanks to Devin for that look at some remarkable families. Much more on our report tonight on the education system, the rural teachers struggling to even connect with their students, what these small communities say they need and right now. And another down day on Wall Street. We go by the numbers on just how many Americans could lose their jobs. But first, our post of the day, killing time while social distancing.
Just pour it right in. Oh, doesn't that look fabulous? Nice and cold, and lots of it. And I would say, stay safe, have a very good time, and don't forget the cocktails. Delicious.
Welcome back. The stock market took another tumble today after the market had bounced back a bit last week. So let's take a look by the numbers. President Trump's dire warning yesterday saying as many as 240,000 Americans could lose their lives to the pandemic seemed to strike a chord on Wall Street, with the president noting a painful few weeks ahead. The Dow dropped 974 points today, the worst first day of a financial quarter ever. That followed a 410-point drop yesterday, closing out the worst first quarter in the Dow's 130 35-year history. After nearly reaching a record high of 30,000 points in mid-February, the Dow is now down nearly 9,000 points, and S&P 500 companies have lost $6.7 trillion in market value since the start of the year. And after last week's record 3.3 million unemployment claims, the latest tally out tomorrow will only increase the toll. Some analysts project unemployment could reach 40 million by mid-April. One silver lining, at least beginning Friday, small businesses can begin to apply for a share of the $349 billion available from the economic rescue package, with hopes that companies will bring back employees in order to qualify for full loan forgiveness. And much more ahead on ABC News Prime. The Tiger King trying to settle a score from prison, why he wants millions of dollars from his former business partner. Also, as we continue our focus on education tonight, homeschooling tips as millions of Americans try to learn how to teach on the fly. And my conversation with Stacey Abrams, what she says needs to happen ahead of the November election. But first, a look at the top trending headlines on abcnews.com.
Difficult days are ahead for our nation. We're going to have a couple of weeks, starting pretty much now, but especially a few days from now, that are going to be horrific.
Millions of Americans continue to learn they'll be staying home for quite some time.
New York is still the epicenter of the coronavirus outbreak. There are more than 83,000 cases in New York alone, and state officials say the peak may be weeks away.
Other people talk about getting back to work, starting the economy, April, May, June. This model says it could go on through July.
Governor Andrew Cuomo is closing down playgrounds in New York City to enforce social distancing. In neighboring New Jersey, the number of people who've tested positive now tops 22,000, along with 355 deaths.
The state of Louisiana saw its largest increase in novel coronavirus deaths in 24 hours. Its governor extending the stay-at-home order to April 30th. Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis, who's been under increasing pressure for several weeks to issue statewide stay-at-home orders, finally issued that order today.
The Trump administration has rejected calls to reopen Obamacare enrollment during the COVID-19 outbreak. The enrollment window closed in most of the country in mid-December, but there's been a push by health insurers and Democrats for the federal government to relaunch healthcare.gov and allow millions of Americans without coverage to obtain it during this ongoing public health crisis. The Trump administration has required insurance companies cover diagnosis and treatment of coronavirus for the most part, deeming that an essential benefit under insurance plans and making it significantly more likely that patients won't get stuck with huge out-of-pocket expenses.
After days of the number of new coronavirus cases decreasing in hard-hit Italy, that trend reversing today. The country now with more than 110,000 cases, reporting that of the more than 13,000 people who have died there, 67 are doctors. France, Spain, and the United Kingdom now reporting their highest number of daily deaths since the pandemic began. In Great Britain, the world's oldest tennis tournament, Wimbledon, canceled for the first time since World War II. And Prince Charles coming out of isolation and sharing his first message since testing positive.
And I find myself on the other side of the illness, but none of us can say when this will end. A cruise ship with 9 confirmed coronavirus cases and many others sick has asked permission to dock in Florida. Governor Ron DeSantis says no.
We have worked so hard to make sure we have adequate hospital space in the event of a COVID-19 surge that we wouldn't want, those valuable beds to be taken because of the cruise ship.
On another ship, the aircraft carrier USS Theodore Roosevelt, at least 100 sailors have tested positive. Some of the crew will be allowed to leave the ship in Guam.
And now to the latest on that U.S. Navy aircraft carrier where there are nearly 100 confirmed cases so far. Today, more sailors have been evacuated, and we're learning more about where they'll quarantine. Our Martha Raddatz has more.
More than 1,000 of the Roosevelt sailors are now off the ship, thousands more to follow in the coming days. This after the urgent plea from the carrier's captain to Navy leadership to get the nearly 5,000 sailors off the ship ASAP, saying we are not at war. Sailors do not need to die. The progression of the virus was swift. Monday last week, 3 cases. By Friday, the number was 23, and today, at least 93, although none serious. Stephanie Hastings' husband is a sailor on the Roosevelt.
It's really stressful on the family members, and I'm sure every sailor on that ship has family that are really worried about them.
But at least 1,000 sailors will remain on the warship.
You can't leave a nuclear reactor there running without anybody on the ship.
Our thanks to Martha. Some people say that one big distraction from their preoccupation with the coronavirus is the documentary on Netflix, Tiger King. And tonight, the star of that documentary, Joe Exotic, is suing from federal prison. We're learning Joseph Maldonado Passage, which is his real name. He filed a $93 million lawsuit against a host of U.S. agencies and his former business partner, Jeff Lowe. He's claiming that Lowe asked a former employee of theirs to lie in front of a grand jury. Joe Exotic was found guilty in a murder-for-hire plot against a prominent animal rights activist. The story behind that plot is now a hit miniseries. Exotic is serving 22 years in prison. The FDA is urging people to stop taking the popular heartburn drug that you may know as Zantac. It's being pulled off the market for contamination issues that could be more dangerous than previously thought. Just last year, the agency told patients low levels of a probably cancer-causing contaminant found inside did not pose health risks. CVS is among the retailers offering a refund. Tonight, millions of students out of college may be about to see some much-needed financial relief from their schools. State schools in South Carolina, North Carolina, Wisconsin, and Iowa have all announced some refunds for the semester. Now, of course, the amount varies by school, but most are offering money back on housing, dining, and parking. And in response to the pandemic, the University of California announced today that applicants this fall no longer need to submit SAT test scores or meet minimum grade requirements. Students all around the country are dealing with uncertainty around schools closing, as you can imagine, and perhaps none more so than those in rural areas who often have more obstacles to learning remotely. But schools and communities, they are stepping up to help. Alex Perez has those details.
Circumference equals 3.14. Times the diameter is 26.
With the massive outbreak of COVID-19 shutting down schools across the country, many teachers now forced to rely on the internet, online classes. But in rural areas where high-speed internet is harder to come by, students are in danger of falling further behind. Jamie Watts is a math teacher at Central High School of Clay County in Lineville, Alabama, a city of less than 3,000 people. It's a very small community, very rural community, a lot of farming, very few manufacturing jobs here in this area. A Pew Research survey shows that in 2019, only 63% of rural Americans had broadband internet access. That's a whopping 16% less than suburban Americans. In some of our outlying remote areas in our county, we have kids that don't even have running water in places, and let alone internet. In these digital deserts, teachers worry about the homework gap, a term the FCC commissioner used to describe the nearly 1 in 5 teens nationwide who can't always finish homework due to lack of internet access. In one of Colorado's poorest school districts, that issue is front and center.
My community is not like, we don't have
very reliable access to internet. Many of my students don't have internet at home or don't have a computer at home or anything like that to do virtual learning on. So, of course, my first concern was going to become equity.
Some districts are a step ahead of others. Not far from Lineville in Roanoke, Alabama, schools implemented a one-to-one policy, assigning each student a digital device for the year.
We've been one-to-one for about 10 years now. Every student in our school system has a device to use daily. We've really increased the number of hotspots that we have out on loan right now because we want to make sure that students are able to do their work.
But when students are told to stay home to avoid spreading the virus, they have to find internet access elsewhere. The federal government and internet service providers, ISPs, have acknowledged the digital divide during the crisis. ISPs and cell phone service companies said they would provide more access to their Wi-Fi hotspots. Some of the ISPs, like Cox, Comcast, and AT&T, are removing their data cap limits. Internet providers Spectrum and TDS, which cover areas in Kansas and Wisconsin, are offering free broadband access to students during the pandemic.
Toyoak, which is the city that is closest to us on the Mountain Ute Reservation, they do have hotspots available to them as well. I think that their community center as well as their education center. So they have access to it. But again, what I don't know, and this is where I'm still trying to figure it out from my end, is do they have the ability to get to those places?
And while educators struggle to teach, school districts and communities in rural areas, as in cities around the country, have been able to more quickly make changes so that students who rely on free or reduced price lunch can get meals.
We have tons of stakeholders and businesses in the community that are stepping up because we might be in a small, poor town, but we've got a very strong community around us.
We've had people who every day who've said, hey, I'll come in, I'll pass out lunches, I'll help prepare lunches.
And teachers are rolling with the punches, working to ensure their students continue learning even as schools are shut down.
As I speak with you right now, we have teachers in the building who are packing up their classrooms to be able to send things home to their students.
The resilience that people are showing right now is incredible. We're going through what is obviously going to be a traumatic experience in our collective conscious. I just hope by the end of this that we can address the equity issues that are obviously going to arise from this.
And Lindsay, this is going to be an ongoing problem. Rural school districts across the country are bracing to deal with these serious challenges for months to come. A number of districts have already decided they will not reopen buildings for classes this school year. Lindsay?
A lot of equity issues down the road here, Alex. Thank you for that report. Earlier in the show, we gave you a view inside the life of teachers who have had to adapt to this new world of complete virtual learning. But on the other side of that new world are parents who continue to juggle their own jobs, their child's schooling, and the overall stressors of keeping their family safe. So as we all learn to navigate this together, we want to provide some tips that may help you or someone that you know make this challenging time a little bit easier. So for that, we have Vincent Costanza joining us. Vincent is the Chief Academic Officer for Teaching Strategies and the Director of the New Jersey Office of Primary Education. Vincent, thanks so much for joining us.
Lindsay, my pleasure to be with you.
So for many parents, this is week 2 or week 3 of their children being at home. What's the main thing that parents who feel that they're not doing a good enough job, what should they keep in mind?
Well, you know, as a parent myself, the first thing that's important to keep in mind is, especially when you're talking about dealing with young children in particular, is that the cornerstone of early learning and development, really the cornerstone of development, is all about relationships. So to really focus on the relationships between an adult, your child, a caregiver, and the young one that you're having to care for at home for an extended period of now. That's the most central thing to be doing at the moment, and especially during this scary time, to make sure that you check in with your children, to make sure that they're doing okay during this scary time.
And what are some ways that parents can use everyday life and chores as teaching mechanisms for their children?
Well, Lindsay, that's such a great question because routines and schedules are absolutely important. You want to do as much as you possibly can, maintain your regular schedule, bath time, meal time, reading books at night. All of that stuff was really important before, and it's ultra important right now. To the extent possible, you want to maintain a schedule that a program or perhaps even school could put out. And a good suggestion for parents would be, if you don't have that, to reach out to your school or program and get that. But certainly, even if you're implementing a schedule, things are going to fall apart. They're not going to go well. It's hard even in school to do this stuff. So when a regular routine or schedule falls apart, to rely on those everyday things, as you suggested, things such as mealtime, make a meal with your child that's laid in not just with great relationship building opportunities, but as you measure out ingredients, as you talk about great vocabulary, it's rich with really rigorous and important learning and development and content as well.
Do you think it's necessary for parents to regularly have conversations with their children about COVID-19?
Not necessarily. I think it's very important to check in with your children to see how they're doing. These are difficult conversations. Obviously, you don't want to force the issue, but you definitely want to check in an age-appropriate, calm, acknowledging that your child is safe and is going to be okay. These are all important things to do. Again, don't force the issue, but don't avoid it either.
We have there on the screen, have a routine, not a regimen. What's the differentiation there?
Well, again, in schools where there are, daily schedules, even for trained professionals, these things do not go well all of the time. And as you mentioned in your intro, parents and caregivers, because it's not always parents, sometimes it's grandparents or, maybe even an aunt or an uncle who's home with the child at this time. If the schedule is not going well, don't force it. Be easy with yourself, be easy with your child. Again, focus on the relationships. Do your best to have the routine, but you don't want to force it. If you force it, that's when it becomes a regimen, and you really risk putting doing damage to the relationship that you want to keep at the core of what you're trying to do at home with your child.
And for years we've been hearing about the need to limit screen time, but now with these online classes, many kids are in front of a screen for hours. So can anything be done to achieve a better balance?
Yeah, Lindsay, again, such an important question. You want to focus on content. You want to I think, again, to your previous question about being regimented, this is not a time for that. Media and technology that's used to enhance relationships, that's used to foster interactions, doing a FaceTime with a grandparent, with a best buddy. Now is definitely the time that you want to leverage technology to do that. So you want to focus not as much on time, but more on content and quality. When technology is used to construct rather than just to absorb, it's much better, again, especially when it's used to foster positive relationships.
Our thanks to you for those homeschooling tips. We need them. We're going to put them to work. Thank you so much, Vincent Costanza. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me, Lindsay.
We turn now to Census Day, which is today. Only once a decade, the United States counts its people. The result will determine the numbers of congressional seats and electoral college votes and how more than $1 trillion of federal spending is allocated. But as you can imagine, the coronavirus has upended this process, raising fears that many won't be counted. To talk more about the seriousness of all this, let's bring in former gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams, former Democratic leader of the Georgia House of Representatives and founder of the advocacy groups Fair Count and Fair Fight Action. Thank you so much for joining us, Stacey.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us about the disruptions that you're seeing as far as the census and how it's working.
The census was always going to be difficult because of the underfunding and the fear that was created by the Trump administration. The citizenship question scared a lot of folks into believing that filling it out would somehow put them in jeopardy. Luckily, a coalition of organizations got the Supreme Court to punt and to kick the citizenship question off of the census form, but we still faced underfunding. However, I want to give the Census Bureau great credit for trying to accommodate not only the challenges they face financially, but also adapting to COVID-19.
And the data that's being collected, it's not just relevant to elections, but also to the allocation of many other government resources. So how will this impact everyday Americans if the count isn't 100% accurate this year?
What we have to remember is that the census is a count not only of who we are, but where we are and what we need. If you have a utility bill or a cell phone, they already know how to find you. What the census tells them is who you are and what you need. So it talks about the communities you're living in, the racial issues that you face, economic concerns, housing needs. And in a time of coronavirus and COVID-19, it applies to how many beds are in a hospital, how many masks are allocated, and how much resources are going to be invested in community. And the problem is when communities are not counted, they simply are erased from the narrative. I compare it to doing an RSVP to a party. If you RSVP and tell them you're coming, you'll get a good seat, you'll get good food, good drink. You might get to see the concert up close. But if you fail to respond, or if you can't respond, you're going to find yourself in the garage with a cup of Kool-Aid and a bologna sandwich wondering what's going on inside.
Good analogy. I think we can all relate to that. So right now, as we all know, medical supplies are running low at many hospitals during this crisis, and states appear to be competing for federal resources. Could the distribution of these resources be impacted by census data?
They've already been impacted. We know that there was an undercount of Black and brown communities of color writ large. There was an undercount of young children under the age of 5, an undercount of immigrants, and an undercount of renters, as well as an undercount of rural communities. When these communities are undercounted in 2010, what happened was that the planning based on those numbers never accounted for the increases because you start with a false denominator. You start with the wrong number at the base, and that means even with the best statistical information to increase the number, you never get to where you need to be.
Your group, Fair Count, promotes participation in the 2020 census, but you've had to suspend some of that work because of social distancing. So how is that hampering your goal of getting everyone counted?
Of course, our ideal was going to be that we had a 60-town bus tour, that we were able to do aggressive door knocking, we had our own organizers, and that we would work in concert with other organizations, including the Census Bureau, to reach people. What we shifted to now is that our organizers are doing phone banking and text banking. We may not have our bus tour, but we're going to do virtual tours. But more importantly, we are still reaching out through networks that we established in 2019, especially faith-based organizations, because they tend to have the closest contact with community, even in this moment.
And now let's turn to the 2020 election. How do you see the coronavirus crisis impacting how we vote and how some people might be hindered from voting?
So, as you know, I also started an organization called Fair Fight. Fair Fight Action is our C4. Fair Fight 2020 is our national work. And we have operated in 20 states. And we know that the right to vote is sacrosanct. We also know, unfortunately, that the president, as recently as Monday, bemoaned the fact that if every eligible voter cast a ballot, he couldn't win elections. And so he opposes making certain that every person can have a ballot if they're eligible for one. But we know what the best answer is, and that is vote by mail. It is the safest way to vote for most Americans. And that means that every state should be given the resources to send absentee ballots directly to voters so they can return those ballots, postage paid, and cast their votes.
So what's been the pushback to this voting by mail concept? I mean, what's the concern?
Well, as Donald Trump said on Monday on Fox and Friends, if everyone gets to vote by mail, he won't win the election. In fact, he said Republicans won't win. And that's, I think, deeply problematic because, one, it presumes that every American votes the same. I certainly want my party to win elections, but our elections aren't partisan. Our selections are, but our elections are not. And when we have Republican leaders like the President of the United States or governors who are refusing to allow access to voting, like Kay Ivey in Alabama, who are requiring that you have to have an excuse to vote absentee, that will force a lot of people who are sheltering in place to either lie to be able to vote or to have to break the quarantine to go out into the public. We should not make people make the choice between their health and their democracy.
Would you ever advocate for postponing the November presidential election, or is that out of the question in your mind?
I went to law school for a reason, and the Constitution does not permit a delay in the November elections. We cannot do it. It has to happen on the first Tuesday in the month of November. And the reality is that we are going to have that election. The question is, will we have an election that is free and fair, or will we give in to fear and power mongering and undermine the very democracy we should be holding up as a light to the rest of the world.
Last question for you. Vice President Stacey Abrams, what do you think? Does that have a certain ring to it?
I would be honored to serve if asked, but no one's asked me yet, but we'll see what happens.
Thank you so much, Stacey Abrams. We appreciate your time. Stay safe and healthy.
Thank you, Lindsay. You as well.
And next on ABC News Prime, the power of a book. You'll definitely want to stick around for this. But first, our myth bust of the day. And finally tonight, April is Autism Awareness Month, and during these difficult times, we thought it was appropriate to bring you one family's heartwarming story, which fortunately we were able to shoot inside their home before this pandemic reached our shores.
So Cameron, do you want to come over and read the book with me for a moment? All right.
This is no ordinary book.
Everybody says I'm going to school.
It tells the story of a journey.
When you have autism like I do. So I just don't say a thing.
6-year-old girl named Cameron who's going to school for the very first time. Only she doesn't talk.
Cameron has autism. So initially when she first went to school, she didn't talk. She wouldn't make eye contact. She didn't know how to communicate, hold conversations. If anybody would ask her anything, she just wouldn't respond.
So it was difficult for this fun-loving little girl with the dimpled cheeks and smiling eyes to make friends.
And so initially, like a lot of her friends thought she was being mean, or she didn't like them because she didn't talk to them. It's not that she wouldn't talk, she couldn't talk. Right, because of the social anxiety related to some children who have been diagnosed with autism. And so I was talking to my husband and I said, you know, we are educating adults about autism, telling adults what are the things you need to look out for, what are some of the signs, you know, talking about early intervention, but who's talking to kids about autism? Where are the books that are educating Cameron's classmates that this is what a person with autism may look like?
When Shaletta Brundage couldn't find such a book, she set out to write one.
I called a local publisher and I was like, hey, let's have coffee.
Shaletta is not an author by trade.
Left foot raised, left foot, ooh, that's gonna be a hard one.
But since 3 of their 4 children have autism, it does make her a bit of an expert.
Wow! Good job, everybody!
Her positivity and perseverance willed this book into existence.
Here it is. Here it is. It's my baby's book, girl. She's a superhero. She's a superhero in the book because everybody else is going crazy around her, but she's just calm and collected. And even though she couldn't talk, we didn't make that a detriment in the book. We made that something that gave her strength.
As a result of time and therapy, Cameron is now not only talking, she's reading and thriving.
Cameron goes to school by Shaletta Brundage.
Who's that, Shaletta Brundage? Who?
Mommy!
Mommy! We finished up the book and we're ready to, you know, just do something different and amazing for Autism Awareness Month and try to educate young kids, classmates.
And this is not just for the classmates, but it's also for Cameron herself,
It's
right?
also for Cameron, my baby. did, because she did not see herself in these books that she was checking out of the library week after week. And so she doesn't see a lot of herself reflected in her environment and in her community.
What do you tell your friends it means to have autism?
It means you learn something different.
All of Shaletta's children learn differently from each other, and ultimately she plans to write a book about each of them, chronicling their unique experiences. But her latest brainchild is already underway. She's rented a bookmobile to give away hundreds of her books for free to librarians and teachers across Minnesota. The first one to get her hands on the final finished product, the subject of the book, Cameron, who can hardly contain her excitement.
Our thanks to Shaletta for sharing Cameron's story with us all. And before we go tonight, the image of the day. She's gonna make it after all. Twin Cities resident Mark Fawcett made sure the iconic statue in downtown Minneapolis of Mary Tyler Moore tossing her hat into the air was given some much-needed PPE, now outfitted with protective gloves and a used N95 mask that was set to be thrown away. And that is our show for this hour. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. I'm Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We leave you now with a shot of a red Empire State Building, the ambulance siren red in honor of our heroic medical professionals who are at war across this great city.
What you need to know right now, the nation's coronavirus